In this episode, I'm going to share with you exactly, well, almost exactly, how to find, where to find magic mushrooms if you are an absolute beginner and have no idea at all where to turn, where to go, where to buy, where to find them. This episode is for you. I'm Dr. Dave. Welcome to Microdose U.
Enter the world of magic mushrooms with Microdose U.
Hey there, how are you? Welcome. I really appreciate you being here. I really do. I say that from my heart because, like I say, if you're not here with me, who am I speaking to? Basically nobody. So I'm glad you're here with me today. It's going to be a great episode because I get this question asked all the time. Dr. Dave, I'm a beginner. I have no idea where to go. Where do I find magic mushrooms? I don't know what to do. And I'm going to share with you as best as I can in this episode. Before I get started, I want to share something else with you, and that is my website. Check it out. All kinds of resources there for you to get going and understand this stuff and how to change your life. It's microdoseu.com. Microdose with the letter U just tacked on the end of it. It's that easy. And also in the show notes, check them out. We've got all kinds of stuff there. Links like you wouldn't believe, especially to our private Facebook group where we're talking about this stuff basically 24/7 and answering your questions. Now, the only thing I've always said from the very beginning is I don't really discuss sourcing. Like if somebody says to me, Dr. Dave, where can I buy magic mushrooms? I stay away from that. And let me explain to you first why I stay away from that and then how I'm going to get around that on this show today. I stay away from it because I want this to be information, this podcast. I want it to be information. I want it to change lives. I want it to help you. I want to share my story. And I always make it clear it's not medical advice. However, I can talk about anything I want. I think, freedom of speech. I'm sharing information with you, and that's totally fine. However, when I cross that line and start sharing places to buy something that is illegal, that is turning this show into a little bit of a different thing where, people might be watching more closely. And I just don't want that. So I make it very clear. I want to stay, on the up and up. I want to stay, honest on this show and make it a show where it's information, but it's not a drug show. It's not where to turn to find drugs. I don't, that's not my intent. And I don't even like to call them drugs because they are a very, very valuable plant medicine. I'm not into partying with these things. I'm into changing lives, and I'm into using these plant medicines, specifically psilocybin, and we do talk about cannabis a little bit here, to feel better every single day, to change my life and your life, both mentally and physically. And I honestly believe I wouldn't be doing this if I didn't believe in this. So I do believe in it. However, I don't really cross that line into turning this into where do you buy this stuff? I don't do that. But in order to get around that today, because I know so many of you, maybe including you, are just curious. You don't want to get ripped off. So I will share with you right off the bat where never to buy magic mushrooms or anything like that would be on Instagram or some type of social media where you don't know who the person is. And typically what they'll do, they'll masquerade as typically you'll see a post something like so-and-so, these have changed my life. I've been microdosing for 2 years and my life is so much better now. I owe it all to, and they'll name an Instagram channel. Go check this person out to get your medicine or to get your mushrooms or to get your whatever it might be. Okay, 99.999% of the time these are scams, and you'll just give them money, you'll never hear anything else from them. Or if you do get something at all, it's going to be of questionable, who knows even what it is. So 100% of the time, I want you to stay away from any kind of link you get anywhere. Doesn't matter where it is, unless you specifically know the person that's sending you the link and they have experienced this link and they know it's good for sure with 100% certainty. Otherwise, I don't want you to go to any link, no matter how good it sounds, because these people are scammers. They all sound great, but I'm telling you something, be warned, you will lose your hard-earned money if you try that. So promise me you'll never do that. Never go to links that you just find online somewhere. Whether it's YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, Facebook, wherever it might be, do not go to a link unless you know the person or know 100%. Okay, now, so you can't do that and you don't know where to go. So what are you gonna do? Let's say you have no resources and you don't know who to talk to and you're in a town or city that you just don't know where to turn. So here's what I would do first. I would just talk to people, and typically younger people, but not necessarily. I'm 69 years old and I'm not afraid to talk to a young person, ask them a question, but I just don't go up to a random young person on the street and say, where do I get psilocybin? I would never do that. That's totally ridiculous. However, if I'm in a situation where, let's say I'm just gonna totally make this up, a restaurant, and my waiter or waitress is younger and looks pretty cool, and if they have a piercing, like if it's a woman, she's got a piercing in her nose, that's a plus. You're being led down that road. Trust me, that's a plus. Just get into a conversation. Work it into the conversation. Don't just say to your waitress, hey, do you know where I can get some magic mushroom? That's ridiculous. You don't want to do that. It's creepy also and stupid. But if you get into a conversation, and I don't know, I'm an introvert, but I do like to talk to people. See, here's the thing. I think I'm an extroverted introvert. I can do it in short bursts. Like I'm very good with like talking to a waitress, talking to somebody that works at a store, because I know it won't have to go on forever. But on an airplane, somebody's next to me for 4 hours, I'm probably not going to talk to them because I don't want to be hooked into a conversation for somebody for 4 hours that I may not want to talk to. I don't even have the energy to talk to anybody for 4 hours. So, okay, that's one possibility. Another one that I love is like a store. It doesn't have to be the exact one, but I'm going to give you the example because everybody knows Whole Foods. A healthy, natural food type store attracts people that work there that know this stuff. Again, you're going to have to trust me. And again, you can't just approach somebody in the store and say, where do I get mushrooms? They'll point you to aisle 4, but no, you can't do that. But again, be friendly, talk, work it into a conversation somehow. And you can do this. I know you can do this. I've done it a million times, even though I know where to get them. I mean, I've done it. I've talked to people from scratch, and you don't know how many people I've given my business card to about my podcast because they say they're interested in mushrooms. I pick things up. Like, for example, I was at a restaurant the other day, and I don't have it in front of me, but I had my journal, and it's got mushrooms on the cover, just mushrooms. It doesn't say anything about psychedelic. And this woman, the waitress, young girl, when I say young girl, she's probably 30 something. Everybody's young to me. She started talking about my mushroom cover journal, and she said how she loves mushrooms and she draws mushrooms and she's an artist. Well, that got into a conversation where I shared my microdosing podcast with her. Now, I never asked her, do you microdose? I mean, no. I just said, hey, if you're really into mushrooms, I've got a podcast that you might be interested in. And I gave her my card and she looked at it, microdosing, and she like lit up. So again, I took a chance, but she said she was going to listen and follow me, which was great. Now, this would have been a perfect example had I not known anything. I said, hey, I'm kind of new in this area. Do you know where I can find some of this plant medicine? And share with them that, you're on the up and up, because the first thing they're going to think is that you're a cop. But you have to be cool and you have to know how to talk to people, and it works all the time. Another example would be, and I would have done this had I not known how to find them, but sometimes I go to the yoga classes at my gym. And my yoga instructor is like a really cool young woman with I think she's got like a little piercing in her ear. And that's a plus. That shows that she's, I don't know, in my mind, I think she's cool. I think she's pretty cool. She's 20 something. But I would have no problem after class just asking her a question like that. But you got to work it into, you talk about other things too. You don't just go up and cold out of the clear blue sky. That's creepy and weird and not good. But if you can make a conversation for just a few minutes with somebody, you can work it in. I promise you. You can do this. So the moral has been kind of like young people working in cool places, whether the yoga instructor, somebody running a sound bath, somebody maybe working at a float spa. You gotta be creative, but you can find these people that are gonna help you. They will guide you to the right place. I absolutely promise you. Now, here's another way to do it. It might cost you a little bit of money, but it's okay. This is your life. If everything else you don't feel comfortable with, or you strike out, or you just don't know how to talk to people, do a search in your area for a psychotherapist that is involved with psychedelics. And I would just do a Google search for psychedelic psychotherapist in my area. As simple as that. You would be surprised what comes up. Now, you just can't call their office and say, where do I score some magic mushrooms? You can't do that. However, if you pay them for a consultation or to come in and talk to the therapist in the first meeting, you could tell them that you're very interested in microdosing or macrodosing or whatever you're interested in doing, and they say, but I have no idea where to get my medicine. They will share this with you in some way. They will help you because you're paying them for their service, for their advice. They're not just going to say, well, I can't help you with that. I don't think they would. I think they're going to help you. They're going to steer you towards someone or some entity that can help you. I'm pretty sure. Now again, you might have to pay $100, $200, $300. I'm not sure, but again, is it worth it for your life, for your life's mission to change and feel better every single day? I mean, you can answer that. I don't have the answer to that question. Now, I will say, and this is not any kind of bait and switch or anything like that, but at a higher level, when somebody signs on to our 10-week intense one-on-one microdosing program, we show you from start to finish exactly what to do. Now, we don't sit with you. It's not that kind of thing where you don't come to, it's all virtual, but we share, again, it's not medical advice, but we share our life story. And in those sessions, we can certainly, you're paying us for advice, we can certainly share a reliable place to get the medicine. However, I don't put this out to the public only because if we're talking to somebody one-on-one, yeah, I feel comfortable sharing one-on-one, somebody that's actually a client, they're working with me, not somebody that emails me and says, hey, where do I score some medicine? No, I don't do that. But if you're working with me one-on-one live, me and Dr. Denise, then we can share that information with you. Now, that's not to say you need to sign up for the program just to learn how. That would not be worth it. But only if you really want to have one-on-one, mentoring, and you really want to change in that regard, you can do that. That's another option. But there are so many ways, and I hope what I said makes sense. What not to do, do not go on Instagram or anything like that, please. But just start talking to people. But I'm not good talking to people. I've got social anxiety. That's why I need this medicine. Well, that's a valid point. A lot of people have social anxiety. That's true. It's a valid point. But on some level, you're going to have to work through that at least a little bit to talk to somebody to ask. And even if you have to pay somebody like a psychedelic therapist in your area, that's what you may have to do. And if you can't, if there's nobody else to talk to, that's what I would do. Get one session. Just pay for one session. That's all. Okay, I really hope this helps. It's funny, when I turn the mic on and the camera, those of you that are watching me on YouTube here, I wasn't going to talk about this. I had another idea in mind for a show today. That shows how fluid these shows are, because if I think I want to talk about something, but then something else more important comes to my mind, I say, hey, I really want to get this one out first before I talk about the other topic that I was going to talk about. So this is real important because almost every day people message me and ask me where to score the medicine. So I felt this was really timely, really important. The other topic I had, basically, it's something I need to do, how to get started. Like, once you have the medicine, what do you do? How do you get started? Well, I've talked about that a lot, but I want to do a concise episode on exactly how to get started as well. So I just, again, I've been and I will continue to be putting out episodes every Wednesday and every Friday. Sometimes Monday, there's a Microdose Monday, which is like a short announcement, but every Wednesday, every Friday. You don't have to pay me to do the program unless you want to, be mentored at the highest level. You don't have to do it, but some people want to be mentored at that high level, and they want to pay and make sure they're, somebody's checking in on them, and they're held accountable and all that stuff. So if that's what you're looking for, absolutely, we can do that. Just let me know. Just send me an email. My email address is always in the show notes for each podcast episode, and it's always on my website, microdoseu.com. You can message me there as well. So I think I covered everything I need to cover today. Important stuff. If you're not sure about some things, just go back and search through past episodes, and I've covered so many of your questions that you've got. I'm sure I've probably covered that. But if you do have questions that you don't think I've covered, shoot me an email. I'll try my best. I'll try my absolute best to get it on. Until next time, I'm Dr. Dave. This is Microdose U, and yes, I do love you. Talk to you later.